right, good to have you back. As we've mentioned, kind of quiet around the stove this time of year, as it is always. But any player or situation, Jack, stand out to you at all?
I look at some of those starting pitchers, Bob, who probably thought they'd have a job by now and who are still waiting for their phone to ring, waiting to get that offer that hasn't come yet. We've seen a guy like Bronson Arroyo connected with the Orioles recently. He's a very durable pitcher, 9 straight years of 199 innings or more. You could see someone wanting to sign Arroyo. But you look at those other pitchers, and they just don't excite teams. I know from talking to some Yankee officials, they're not in love with a Santana and Jimenez, a Garza. So it's the first week in January, and I don't care who you are. I said before, be patient regarding Tanaka. Major League players are like anyone else. You want to know where you're going for spring training. Where is your family going to have to be? Do you have to take your kids out of school, et cetera, et cetera? Who are your teammates going to be? Who's your pitching coach going to be? Who's your manager going to be? Well, those guys are waiting, and the wait continues. There just haven't been a lot of knocks on their door to this point.
Jack, I couldn't agree with you more. Early in the spring, people from the Santana camp linked that the number they deserved is $112 million, right? I'm wondering if they'll even get 56, which is half of it, since we're this late into the offseason. There's been this theory, and I believe some of the theory holds, which is, hey, Tanaka has confused the market a little. Teams are out there. Once Tanaka's off or once David Price is traded, this will clarify and these guys will sign. Well, they'll sign. They're good pitchers, and they're going to be employed in Major League Baseball this year. But I think a lot of teams are in it for Tanaka or Price because those guys are number 1 or 2 starters. That's how they're viewed. And they're not in it for these guys. You know, these guys are not a fallback position. That's a luxury people will extend for. And I think the reason they're concerned about them, just to play off of what Jack said, these players want to be treated off of their 2013 seasons, which were all pretty good. But you go back to 2012. Ubaldo Jimenez was arguably the worst pitcher in the American League, right? Irvin Santana was so bad, the Angels were going to not pick up his option and release him at the end of the 2012 season. Instead, the last second, the Royals came along, and Garza had significant injury problems. That was the previous season, and teams have long enough memories to say, how far do we want to go with these guys?
You know, I wonder if these guys are a fallback after Tanaka signs, what that fallback number for them is going to be. Is there a pot of gold at the end of their rainbow, or are they going to have to be maybe some of these pitchers that take a one-year deal and try and rebuild their value?
Well, Bob, I think every time we say that, you know, that there's not money out there for these guys, even late in January, we get surprised, and there is. But, you know, it's interesting also there's a position player corollary to these guys, and that's Nelson Cruz, Kendrys Morales, and Stephen Drew. And there's no Masahiro Tanaka kind of keeping them. I think the question with at least Cruz and Morales is who wants to give up a draft pick for those guys, and they're probably nervous as well, Jack.
Yeah, I look at a guy like Stephen Drew, too, and I don't think I would have said this at the time, but he had that qualifying offer from the Red Sox. I know it's only 1 year, and I'm sure his agents would say, we're going to get him a multi-year deal. But as the calendar keeps kicking another day, another week, again, you're looking for some resolution, some clarity, and you want to know where you're going to play. And the Mets have had some interest in Stephen Drew, but it's only on 1 year.
Keep in mind, Stephen Drew and Kendrys Morales' agent is Scott Boras. Late last offseason, we heard a lot of this same stuff about Michael Bourne, and Michael Bourne ended up getting the 4-year, $48, $52 million deal in that range. I think these guys will get something. I don't know that they'll get that much, but I see some opportunity shoppers coming along, sitting there going, we weren't willing to pay what they were asking for in November. We weren't willing to pay what they were asking for in December. But what are the January and February prices? Watch out for the Blue Jays on the starting pitchers. They need them, and they're going to pounce to me on at least one of those guys.